name is Ashley, and this will be my first video that I will post to YouTube. I am an avid watcher of the BookTube community. I love to watch reading vlogs. I love to watch reading wrap-ups, TBR videos. So I thought it would be pretty cool for me to film one of my own. So I am here today to share with you my 2023 reading wrap-up till now. Okay, so I've read about 19 books from January 2023 until now, so I'm here to share those with you, share my thoughts, and tell you what I thought about them. So I have right here with me, of course, my Starbucks. I just got a regular caramel macchiato today. Every once in a while I like to change it up and get some other ones. I know right now they have the white chocolate macadamia one that's actually really good too. So this is going to help me get through this because it is actually afternoon. It's almost 5 o'clock, I think. So I hope you can't tell, but the sun's kind of going away. So I'm going to need this to keep me awake to help me through this because, like I said, this is my first video. So thank you so much for clicking on this, and thank you for being here with me, and I hope I can give you some recommendations that maybe you'll really like, and if not, that's okay, but I hope that you find something that you would like in this video. I would like to mention my genre of choice is heavily romance. I think almost all my books I've read the first half of this year has been romance, so if you love romance, you're in the right place. All right, let's get started. Also, I'm going to try not to look at the viewfinder or the way that shows my picture on the side too much, but I might look at it every once in a while, so thank you for bearing with me on that. Alright, the first book I read in January of this year was called By the Book by Jasmine Guillory. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing the book titles, of course, and I'm also going to be sharing my rating on that book. For By the Book, I rated that one. Sorry, I should have been ready for this. Let me find it. I rated By the Book. Oh. Sorry, guys. Here it is. 5 stars, actually. So By the Book is actually a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's very loosely Beauty and the Beast, okay? So don't expect a fantasy world because it is not set in the fantasy world. It is just very loosely a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. It's actually with characters set in the publishing industry, so that's really exciting. I absolutely loved the male main character. I think his name was Bo. Oh my gosh, swoon. He was so funny. They actually worked really well together. Imagine, of course, thinking of Beauty and the Beast, imagine enemies to lovers type of trope. That's what you're going to get in this book. It was really fun, actually. He's kind of a grump, of course, because he's the Beast, and, you know, eventually she melts him, and I really liked it. So I say pick it up. It was super duper fun, and I know Jasmine Guillory writes lots of really good adult romance, so give it a go. My second book that I read this year was called After. Now, After is by Anna Todd. Now, I'm sure you've probably seen the film adaptation on Netflix. Okay, so After has a film adaptation. Actually, I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. Now I think it's on Hulu. But that adaptation is actually really good. And After by Anna Todd, she actually wrote for Wattpad. I actually have never been on Wattpad, but after reading After and then just kind of hearing about Wattpad here and there, I actually think I might want to give it a try one day. But this was a story written on Wattpad, and it's actually really good. So the first book I gave 5 stars, y'all. Now, the reason I gave it 5 stars was because this plot line, oh my goodness, it went up and down and side to side. I didn't know how to feel with this book, to be completely honest. And it was so good. And I really, really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. There was so many things that just surprised me. The twist, the way the characters reacted to certain things. I'm not going to say I absolutely love the couple. I'm not going to say I rooted for them the whole time. But it was very interesting. It was very dramatic. So 5 stars. Now, my next book, which was also a romance book, was actually going to be a book that I had on my TBR for the previous Christmas time, and I never got to it. So I had it on my TBR for January because I did want to read it. And this book, guys, this was a chunky book, and it was a chunky book, in my opinion, for not a good reason. I don't think it needed to be that long. I don't remember how many pages it was, but I want to say 400 plus, and it was a romance set in a small town. Imagine like a Hallmark movie, okay? This book was called The Christmas Wedding Guest, and I gave The Christmas Wedding Guest 2 stars. So the reason I only gave it 2 stars was because I felt like there was way too many points of view. If you read it, you're going to tell there are going to be, I believe, 4 points of view. Now 4, in my opinion, is just way too much. So imagine 2 couples. Each of the people in the couples has a point of view. I got them real, and the points of view, or the point of views, come out really early in the story, which you would think, oh great, let's just get it over with. No, I was so confused. I couldn't tell who was with who. It took me a few chapters to realize who was going to be with who, how they knew each other. I gave it a 2 stars. I don't see myself reading any more of this author's books. And by the way, I don't think I gave you the author. So this was The Christmas Wedding Guest by Susan Mallory, who's actually, I saw her books at the library. She has loads of them, and she does Christmas a lot. So she does this. It's her thing. It's just not for me. So, but that was that book. The next book that I read was called My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey, which I'm sure if you're on the BookTube community, you have probably seen, if not seen, read. Okay, now My Killer Vacation was actually really cute. So I read this book because it looked really cute. I think I read it around February time. So it was pink. The cover was really cute, really nice. And, you know, I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was kind of right there in the middle for me, which is why I gave it 3 stars. So My Killer Vacation is about a 2nd grade teacher, and I believe he's a bounty hunter, okay? And she's on vacation, and I guess this really got me in the beginning of the story, guys. I guess the Airbnb that she's staying at, they find a dead body, if I remember correctly, and so it becomes this whole murder investigation or something like that, and she gets involved with the bounty hunter to try to figure out what happened. I'm pretty sure that's the plot. I'm pretty sure he's a bounty hunter. If not a bounty hunter, then a detective, something like that. It's enemies to lovers, or not really enemies because they didn't know each other, but it's like, I don't really like you, I don't want to like you, to lovers, because of course it's a romance. And I liked it, but it was a little cheesy, okay? Now, it was super cheesy, actually. At times it was cute, at times it was like, okay. And there's definitely insta-love, so if you don't like insta-love, you probably don't want to read this one. Alright, moving on to the next book that I read is called Twisted Love by Anna Huang. And if, like I said, if you are avid on the BookTube community, or if you just like Book Talk too talks about this a lot, you've definitely heard of Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and I'm pretty sure that's who wrote it. Let me double check because I would hate to not be saying that correctly. Yes. And this book, I did not give that many stars. So for Twisted Love, I gave it 2 stars, which is probably not the minority, because a lot of people say similar things about this book, that it's just not, it's not that good, honestly. You kind of get, what's the word I'm looking for? You get confused. I know I got confused a lot through the book as to why this couple was together. I got confused as to how it was all coming together. For example, I forgot his name, but the male main character, I don't believe his backstory. It was a little too good to be true. I was like, this is like fantasy at this point. And their age didn't make sense. The whole relationship didn't make sense in my opinion. And also the twist that happens, I think, where'd it come from? That was out of nowhere. I don't think it was necessary. So that's how I felt about that one. And we'll just move on, okay? Moving to the next book that I read, it was called The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. And y'all, this one was so good. I can't remember how quickly I read it, but I know it was pretty quick. I gave this one 4 stars because it had me at the edge of my seat, okay? Pretty much what this one's about is it's about a girl whose brother lives in Paris, and he is living at an apartment. Okay, simple enough. Well, when she gets there, because she's actually going to go there to live with him for a little while, he's not there. And he's nowhere to be found. Sorry guys, is it out of focus? Okay, good. He's nowhere to be found, and no one knows where he is, and no one's saying anything, and so she has to figure out what happened to him. And what I really liked about this one, and I thought was really cool, was that the apartment is actually, if you've ever been to Europe, you know that the I don't want to call them houses, but you know, the buildings where people live are usually one big building with a courtyard somewhere and multiple levels. So the way this apartment works is that each level, or each floor, I guess you would call it, is a different apartment. So someone else lives there, some different family lives there, they're all connected somehow. It's crazy. So read it. You're not going to guess the ending. I know I didn't. So good. And plus, anything set in France or Paris, love. Okay, so that was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. The next book I read, which was also in the Twisted series for like Twisted Love, was called Twisted Games. Now this one I actually liked a lot better. Take a little coffee break real quick. So Twisted Games has to deal with, oh man, I wish I could remember their names, but Twisted Love, the girl, the female main character in Twisted Love, has a friend group, okay? So now Twisted Games is about one of her friends. Now, if you thought I thought Twisted Love was not that good because it was a little unbelievable, well, Twisted Games, I kind of went into it thinking the same in the beginning, because this is about the female who is a princess, guys. She is a princess, and she's going to school in America like she's a normal person. I don't know. Okay, so she's a princess. She's going to college out here, so that means she has a bodyguard, right? Well, this is a bodyguard romance, so it's princess bodyguard. Now, I actually really enjoyed it, though, because I felt like the conflict made sense, as well as the male main character. Did I write down his name? I don't think I did, but the male main character, which is going to be the bodyguard, oh my gosh, guys, swoon! Oh my gosh, he was so cute. He was so conflicted. Because, you know, that's his job, to protect her, not to love her. So, oh my god, it was so good. I gave it 4 stars. So going from 2 stars in Twisted Love to 4 stars in Twisted Games, I mean, can't be upset about that, right? I'm glad I finally got above 2 stars for this Twisted series, which I haven't finished, by the way. Maybe I'll finish it before the end of the year. Who knows? All right, moving to the next book. So if you remember from the beginning when I was talking about After by Anna Todd, now I'm going to talk about After We Collided, which is book 2 by Anna Todd. And so After, I actually put in my Goodreads review, which I'll link down below if you want to take a look at that. After was so good, and it left on such a cliffhanger that I had to read the next one like that. Thank goodness I had it. So I had to read it because it was just that good. I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? So once I picked up After We Collided, I flew through the beginning, and then the rest kind of slowed down, okay, because it started off really good. If you read the first one, you'll know. You're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And then the second one answers your questions. But then I feel like this is the last one I read of the series, because I feel like it kept repeating itself. The same problems would come up, the same situations. I didn't feel invested anymore. So I finished this one, and I gave it, what did I give it? 4 stars, which is good. You know, I guess I enjoyed it, but I wasn't enough for me to keep reading the series, honestly. And all of the movies are pretty much, I think there's only one movie left. So After is out, After We Collided is out, so that's this book, and I did watch that movie already. And then the next one is After We Fell, and then it's After Ever Happy, and then there's going to be another one called After Ever Everything, or After Everything or something. So I honestly, I wouldn't say DNF'd the book, but I did DNF the series. So that means, like, I didn't finish it because it like I said, it started to be the same old things. It started to be the same things that happened. So I just watched the movies anyway, because the books were way too long. Like, I'm talking 600 pages. Way too long for me to pick up to get the same thing over and over again, let me tell you. So that one I did give 4 stars. I would say read After We Collided, and if you want to read the rest of the series, please go ahead, by Anna Todd, but that's how I felt about that one. Alright, moving on to, oh my gosh, guys, here goes another 5 stars. So I think, what is that, 3 5 stars, including this one? The Bromance Book Club. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I forgot who wrote it, though. Let me look at who the author is. Lisa K. Adams. So Lisa K. Adams wrote the Bromance Book Club, and guys, I love this. I love this book, and I love this series. This series is pretty much about men who are, let's say, having issues in their relationship or having problems in their relationship, and there's a book club that they call themselves the Bromance Book Club. And what they do is they actually read romance novels in order to figure out how to save their relationship or how to keep their relationship good and going, right? I thought that was the cutest concept ever. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna read, you know, they read classics, but they also read, let's say, like Regency era, you know, romance novels, just all these different types of novels in order to figure out how to best act in their relationship. And I thought that was just the cutest thing ever, and I loved it. And the male main character, I think he's a baseball player, very likable. Oh my gosh. And I totally understood how he was feeling. If you read the book, I'm sure you will too. And I mean, I get how she was feeling, his wife, but honestly, she was kind of, I wouldn't say annoyed me, but I wasn't invested in her. I was invested in him. And yeah, part of me was invested in their relationship, of course, because I want them to be together and I want them to be happy. But oh my gosh, the book club was so cute. You low-key fall in love with like all of the boys in the book club, or the men, because they are so cute. Oh, I loved it. So I gave that one 5 stars. And then I read the next one, which is the sequel to the Bromance Book Club, called Undercover Bromance. Now this one, although it was good. I really loved the same aspects of the, you know, Bromance Book Club and reading for that reason and all that stuff, but the storyline just wasn't as good as the first one, in my opinion, just because I didn't care for the girl at all in this one. Did not care. She just seemed very I don't know what to tell you. He was cute. I mean, he was fun enough, but he was kind of too, so I liked it though. I gave it 4 stars. So it's not like I didn't like it, but I didn't love it either. So now looking at my next book. Okay, y'all, I need to take a sip of coffee before I get into this one, because this one, okay? So this next one, Verity by Colleen Hoover. I know you've either heard of it or read it, okay? So I have an unpopular opinion about this book. I'm not going to say I don't like it, because I actually did like it a lot. Like, I thought it was a really good thriller. I only gave it 3 stars. And the reason I only gave it 3 stars was because I felt the ick from this book. And if you've read it, you probably know what I'm talking about. Whoo, boy, did I feel the ick. At times I had to skip whole passages, whole pages, because I couldn't deal. I couldn't deal with what was happening, with what was going on. If you've read it, you understand that there's a lot of, I don't know, just honestly, just search up trigger warnings. People say it all the time, but there's just situations in this book. So pretty much what it is it's about a woman who gets hired to be I don't know if it's actually called a ghostwriter, but I think it is, to finish the series of books for another woman who seems to be in a vegetative state, I think they say, or a coma or something. I don't think it's a coma though. I think it's more of like a vegetative state. And she's a very known author, very well known, but she can't finish her novels because she is in a vegetative state. So they hire another ghostwriter, because her husband, the author who's in the vegetative state's husband, is a publisher, I think, or something like that. He does something with books, I think, and so he likes the woman who is going to be ghostwriting for his wife. He likes her writing, so he chose her, wants her to write the next novel. So she moves in with him and his son, well, him and his wife's son, and the wife lives there. The wife who's in the vegetative state lives there. She's in the room, you know, she's just laying down all day. And so what she does is she actually goes through the wife's office, finds some stuff. It's crazy. Read it. If you like thrillers, if you like to be thrilled, read it. I enjoyed reading it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I read it, but I will never read it again. I will never pick it up again. If there was a movie, I'd watch it, but still, it's just like, it was a lot, y'all. And Colleen Hoover did come out with a new, not a new book, it's the same book, but it has an additional chapter at the end. I did read that. I would say get that version because it does answer some questions for you, but it also leaves some open too, so don't be expecting all of your questions to be answered, but Verity, 3 stars. Okay, and then the next book I read was called Through You, and I believe this one's by Ariana Godoy. Let me double check. Yes, Ariana Godoy. So Through You by Ariana Godoy. And she is actually a Spanish author, I believe. I believe she writes in Spanish and she lives in Spain, and they had to translate all of her books. So this is the first one that she wrote in this series, and it's called, oh no, this is the second one, I'm sorry. I read the first one, which was called Through My Window. So good. It has a Netflix movie adaptation, so good too. This one is about the older brother, I believe. Yeah. So this is Through You. And so it's 3 brothers. The first one is about Aries, and this one is about, because there's Aries and Apollo, and oh, what's this one about? He's the oldest brother. Now I have to look it up because I don't want to leave you guys hanging like that. So this one is going to be about Claudia and Artemis. I knew it was gonna come eventually. Okay, well, I actually read it, so it didn't come. But anyways, so this one's about Artemis. He's the oldest brother, and he actually has it's forbidden relationship trope because he is in love with, or they're pretty much having like a little, you know, a little thing with his family's housekeeper, and it's pretty good, guys. It was a lot deeper than I thought it was gonna be. I forgot what I gave it. Let me look at how much stars I gave. I gave it 4 stars. So it was actually a lot deeper than I thought it was gonna be. Now I will say there is a sequel to the Netflix movie. I have to hurry up, my battery's about to go. But anyways, there's a sequel to the Netflix movie Through My Window called Through My Window Across the Sea, and it actually goes into Artemis and Claudia's relationship a little bit. I don't think it does it justice, but it does do it. Okay, moving right along. Then I read The House Across the Lake, which I gave 4 stars. The House Across the Lake was so good. If you like thrillers, you're gonna love this one. Oh my gosh, such flawed characters. It's about a woman who lives across the lake from another family, and well, really it's just one couple, and she actually saves the woman from that couple from drowning one day, and then it just, stuff starts going from there. She feels weird around her. She feels weird around other people. She thinks something's happening between her and her husband. You gotta read it. So good. If you liked that one Netflix movie with Amy Adams, I think it was, where it was like the girl from the window across the way. I don't know. It was this long title. You're gonna like it. Okay, I gave it 4 stars if I didn't say that already. Moving to the next one because I don't have much time left. We have Lucy Checks In, which is going to be 4 out of 5 stars. Lucy Checks In was written by D. Ernst. E-R-N-S-T. D. Ernst. Now this is actually a really good book. If you like Eat, Pray, Love, and if you like books about, you know, going across to other countries, if you liked, what's the word? I think it's called, I don't know what it's called, but anyways, if you like books like that, you're gonna like this one. Lucy Checks In. She has to go to France. She has to run a whole town. She has to fall in love. She doesn't have to, but you know she does. Read it. It's good. It's cute. And this cover, guys, the cover is so beautiful. Okay, moving to the next one. I have The Spanish Love Deception. All my Erin Blackford girlies out there. 4 out of 5. Beautiful. Amazing. I love it. Spanish Love Deception. The only thing I have to say that's negative is it was way too long. It took me forever to read it. But the plot was so cute. It was adorable. I loved it. Alright, sorry guys, I have to rush a little bit because I'm running out of time. But the next one is called A Lot Like Adios. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. And it was by Alexis Daria, I believe, wrote these books. And I really liked this one. Sorry, let me double check that that's who wrote it. Yes, Alexis Daria. I really like these ones because I am Latina, so it's really fun to be represented in a book, Latin culture, and understand all that stuff. And so I gave this one a 3 out of 5, and this one's actually going to be about these 2 friends who used to be best friends back in the day, and then they grew apart for some whatever reason. It was really like one big thing, now they're apart. The only thing I didn't like was the fan fiction. If you read it, you'll know what I mean. I just didn't care for it. Some people might love it. Alright, moving to the next one. I read Sweet Tea and Sympathy, guys, which is actually really cute. It's by a unknown, well, not an unknown author, but an author that I don't really hear about. Molly Harper. It's a little romance about a principal and a girl who comes to the city, or not to the city, I'm sorry, who leaves the city and goes to the country to spend time with her family that she didn't know she had. And she falls in love, and it's really cute, and I think you should read it because I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which isn't horrible. You know, didn't love it, but didn't hate it. Alright, moving to Spare, guys. I read Spare by Prince Harry. Now, I'm not going to give this one a rating because it's about his life, of course, but I will say it was interesting. I kind of fell in love with him a little bit in the beginning, and then he got to the Meghan part, and I didn't care about it. I really didn't. I'm sorry. He was just, I don't know, I felt like he was playing the victim for her the whole time. There was no, I felt like he didn't give her a lot of redeeming qualities because he didn't, like, you know how when you read about stuff that happens, drama that happens with celebrities, you want to hear them say, you know, if they did do it, like, I'm sorry I did it, I'm growing from it, which I think he did for himself. Never did that for her. It was all like, this is what happened to Meghan, this is why Meghan's, you know, the victim and everything, pity her. I'm sorry, but that's what it was. So I didn't like that part, but I loved the beginning, and I thought it was really cool to kind of look into the private life of the royals. And the last book that I've read up until now, The Roughest Draft. Now, this one I actually have a copy of it. The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. I believe that's how you read that name. Guys, this book, I'm literally using the last of my minutes to talk about this book because this book was so good. I gave this one 5 stars. So this was my 4th 5-star, I think. Oh my gosh. I loved it. I'm sorry, I want to look back for a second. I loved this book so much. So, this book is pretty much about a woman who is let me try to think. She's an author. He's an author. They wrote a book together. So they've written 2 previous books together. The first one they wrote together because he met her and he's like, okay, I feel like I can write a book with her. The second one, bestseller. Seriously, everybody loved it. And so whenever they go write together, they actually go to a house in Florida and they write by themselves, or not by themselves, but like just the 2 of them, right? They go on a little writer's retreat. And the last time they did it, they haven't talked in years because the last time they did it, things got a little weird. He was married and she wasn't. And so now, because everybody wants to get a book out of them again, right? They're like, you guys write so good when you're together, you got to do it. Their publishers want them to do it. Their managers want them to do it. So they're back at the Florida house again. He is now single. He left his wife, and she is now a fiance, so she's engaged. And she's also engaged to her manager, who used to manage both of them. Guys, this drama, so good. I love the drama. I loved the book. It was so good. You gotta read it. You gotta pick it up. 5 stars. This is my book of the year so far. Just saying. Alright guys, well, that was all the books that I've read up until now this year. This is my first video. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for clicking on this. I hope you liked it. I will try to keep up with posting videos about my TBRs and my wrap-ups and, you know, any tags that people have. I think that would be really fun too, and I just look forward to seeing you all again, or seeing you in the comments, I hope. Alright guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.